Have you ever found yourself sitting in a room filled with things, yet feeling an inexplicable sense of emptiness? Have you noticed how your calendar is packed with appointments, your phone is buzzing with notifications, and your mind is racing with what comes next? Yet your soul feels like it is standing still, parched for a drop of genuine meaning. We live in an era of unprecedented noise. We are told that more is the answer to every question. More income, more followers, more square footage, more speed. But in this frantic race toward a finish line that keeps moving, we have lost something vital. We have lost the rhythm of the earth. We have lost the quiet confidence of the modest life. For centuries, our ancestors, those who worked the soil, watched the clouds, and understood the language of the seasons, lived by a different set of rules. They didn't view modesty as a lack of resources, but as a masterpiece of balance. To them, rural life wasn't just about survival. It was a profound philosophy of enough. They knew that a cup can only hold so much water before it spills, and a heart can only hold so much worry before it breaks. Imagine, for a moment, waking up not to the aggressive chime of a digital alarm, but to the soft blue light of dawn filtering through a window. Imagine a world where your value is not measured by your productivity, but by the depth of your presence. Imagine a mind that feels like a still mountain lake, deep, clear, and unruffled by the passing winds of trends or external demands. This isn't a fairy tale, it is a heritage. It is the wisdom of the old rural life, and it is waiting for you to reclaim it. Today, we are going to explore 7 ancestral habits and concepts that can transform your modern chaos into a sanctuary of modesty. We will journey through the wisdom of the land to find the keys to your personal freedom. And if you stay with me until the very end, I will share a silent harvest challenge, a simple 24-hour ritual that will reset your nervous system and help you identify what truly matters in your life. Let us begin our walk back to the roots. The first step in understanding the modest life takes us to the very foundation of ancient balance. In the rural tradition, there is a concept often echoed in the Greek phrase maiden agan, which translates to nothing in excess. In the old ways of farming and country living, this wasn't just a suggestion, it was a law of nature. If you overprune a tree, it dies. If you overwater a crop, the roots rot. If you overwork a horse, it collapses. The rural dweller understood that the sweet spot of life exists in the middle. Contrast this with our modern hustle culture. We are conditioned to believe that if something is good, more of it must be better. We work 80 hours a week to buy things we don't have time to use. We consume information until our brains are overstimulated and unable to process a single original thought. We have replaced the golden mean with a culture of too much, and the result is a collective burnout that leaves us numb. The benefit of Med and Argan is the preservation of energy and the cultivation of appreciation. When you live modestly, you stop leaking your life force into unnecessary pursuits. You find that by having less, you actually enjoy what you have more. Your space breathes, your schedule breathes, your soul breathes. Today, identify one area of excess in your physical environment, perhaps a drawer overflowing with gadgets or a wardrobe of clothes you never wear. Do not just organize it, remove the excess. Keep only what serves a purpose or brings genuine joy. As you clear the space, say to yourself, I am making room for peace. In the traditional rural life, time is not a straight line, it is a circle. The Japanese concept of saitenshi, or living in harmony with the celestial and seasonal cycles, reminds us that there is a time for everything. A farmer does not try to harvest in the winter. They do not try to plant in the heat of a drought. They understand that the earth has a pulse, and to live well, they must sync their own pulse to it. They accept the lean months with the same grace they accept the bountiful months. In the city, we have conquered the seasons with artificial light and climate control. We expect ourselves to be high yield 365 days a year. We wonder why we feel depressed in the winter, not realizing that our bodies are crying out for the ancestral right to slow down, to hibernate, and to reflect. We treat ourselves like machines, forgetting that we are gardens. By adopting a seasonal mind, you release the guilt of not doing enough. You realize that productivity is seasonal. There are times to build and times to rest. This reduces chronic stress and aligns your biological clock with the natural world, leading to better sleep and a more grounded emotional state. Create a seasonal altar in your home. It doesn't have to be religious. It could be a small wooden tray where you place something from the current season, a fallen leaf, a bowl of local fruit, or a stone from a nearby stream. Every morning, look at it to remind yourself, I am a part of nature and I am allowed to move at its pace. From the ancient Sanskrit traditions comes the idea of prantata, a term that evokes a sense of being at the edge or living with profound simplicity. In rural landscapes across the globe, modesty is seen as a form of spiritual hygiene. A modest life is not about poverty, it is about clutter-free living. In an old farmhouse, every object had a story and a function. A wooden spoon was carved by hand. A quilt was stitched with memories. There was no filler. Our modern homes, however, are often graveyards for impulse buys. We use shopping as a way to soothe anxiety, only to find that the resulting clutter creates even more anxiety. We are possessed by our possessions. We spend our weekends cleaning, maintaining, and protecting things that don't actually add value to our existence. The beauty of prantata is that it grants you the gift of focus. When you strip away the superficial, the essential becomes luminous. You start to see the grain in the wood, the flavor in the simple meal, and the light in the eyes of the person sitting across from you. Your home becomes a sanctuary rather than a storage unit. Tonight, prepare a meal with only 3 primary whole ingredients. No complex sauces or processed additions. Eat it in silence. Focus entirely on the texture and the taste. This is the ritual of the simple harvest. Notice how enough it truly feels. The old rural philosophers, the grandfathers who sat on porches, and the grandmothers who tended herb gardens, knew a secret that modern self-help often misses. To improve your life, you don't need to add new habits. You need to subtract the wrong ones. This is what theologians and philosophers call via negativa. In the rural world, a healthy field is not one where you keep adding more plants. It's one where you pull the weeds. If the weeds stay, the corn cannot grow. We, on the other hand, are obsessed with adding. We add more apps to be productive, more supplements to be healthy, and more commitments to be successful. We are so busy adding that we are suffocating the very growth we desire. We are trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation of mud. When you apply via negativa to your life, you look at your day and ask, what can I remove? By subtracting the toxic relationship, the mindless scrolling, and the unnecessary obligation, you naturally leave behind a life that is lean, strong, and intentional. You don't have to find peace. Peace is what remains when you stop inviting chaos. For the next 3 days, delete one app from your phone that causes you to lose time. Just one. Don't replace it with anything. Use the found time to simply sit by a window or walk outside. Observe the void and notice how quickly it fills with clarity. The wisdom of the rural life is deeply connected to the concept of dukkha nirodha, or the cessation of suffering through the letting go of attachment. The rural man or woman knows that they cannot control the weather. They cannot control the market. They cannot control the cycle of life and death. They live modestly because they know that attachment to specific outcomes is the source of all misery. If you are attached to the idea that you must have a certain status, or a certain car to be happy. You are a prisoner. The rural life teaches a quiet stoicism, an acceptance of what is. Modernity, however, is built on the manufacture of desire. Advertisements are designed to make us feel inadequate, so that we will buy a solution. We are kept in a state of perpetual craving, always looking toward the next horizon, never realizing that the ground we are standing on is sacred. By practicing the modesty of desire, you reclaim your power. You become unbuyable. When you are content with a simple roof, a warm fire, and a good book, the world loses its ability to manipulate you. You gain a level of psychological freedom that no amount of money can purchase. The next time you feel the urge to buy something new, wait 72 hours. During those 3 days, ask yourself, am I trying to fill a hole in my heart with a thing in my hand? More often than not, the urge will pass, and you will feel a surge of strength for having mastered yourself. In the rural north, specifically in Finland, there is a word called sisu. It is a unique kind of grit, a stoic determination to keep going even when the odds are stacked against you. It is the resilience required to survive a long winter or a failed crop. Modesty and sisu go hand in hand. When you live a modest life, you develop a low-maintenance soul. You don't need perfect conditions to be okay. You are like the wild grass that grows between the stones. You are hardy, adaptable, and deeply rooted. Our modern comfort has made us fragile. We are upset by a slow internet connection or a cold cup of coffee. Because we have become accustomed to instant gratification and extreme luxury, our threshold for suffering has dropped. We have become hothouse flowers, beautiful to look at, but unable to survive a single night of frost. Living modestly is resilience training. By choosing the simpler path, walking instead of driving, cooking instead of ordering, enduring the cold instead of cranking the heat, you build sisu. You remind your nervous system that you are capable, strong, and independent. Engage in one inconvenient task today. Wash your dishes by hand, walk to the store instead of taking the car, or spend 30 minutes in silence without any entertainment. Embrace the slight discomfort. Feel your inner strength growing in that space. Finally, we look at the social aspect of old rural life. In a small village, modesty wasn't just about things, it was about the ego. There was a sense of communitas, an unstructured community where everyone was equal in their humanity. In the old ways, you didn't try to outshine your neighbor. You helped them. If a neighbor's barn burned down, the community built a new one. No one was above anyone else because they were all subject to the same sun and the same rain. There was a modesty in the way people spoke, less bragging, more listening. Today, we live in a comparison economy. We use social media to perform our lives rather than live them. We are constantly trying to prove that we are more successful, more traveled, or more aesthetic than everyone else. This performance is exhausting. It isolates us because it turns everyone else into a competitor or an audience member, rather than a friend. When you embrace a modest social life, you stop performing. You speak less and hear more. You admit when you don't know something. You offer help without needing credit. This modesty creates a bridge between you and others, leading to deeper, more authentic connections and a profound sense of belonging. In your next conversation, make a conscious effort not to talk about yourself or your achievements. Instead, ask deep, open-ended questions. Be a mirror for the other person. Notice how much more connected you feel when you aren't trying to be the center of the world. We have traveled through the fields of balance, the seasons of the mind, and the strength of the simple soul. But words are just seeds. For them to grow, they must be planted in the soil of your daily actions. Living a modest life is not about retreating from the world or living in a cave. It is about creating a rural heart in the middle of the city. It is about carrying the stillness of the woods into the boardroom. It is about knowing that you're enough, is a fortress that no one can take away from you. As we move toward the end of our journey today, remember that the old ways weren't better just because they were old. They were better because they were aligned with the fundamental truths of what it means to be human. We are biological beings who need sun, air, silence, and community. We are not designed for the digital centrifuge we find ourselves in. By choosing modesty, you are making a radical choice. You are choosing quality over quantity. You are choosing depth over breadth. You are choosing to be the master of your life rather than a slave to your desires. I want to challenge you to participate in the silent harvest ritual over the next 24 hours. For the next 24 hours, do not buy anything that isn't absolutely essential, like food. Choose one corner of your home and strip it back to its bare essentials. Remove everything except the one or two things that truly serve a purpose. At the end of the day, sit in that cleared space for 10 minutes in total silence. No phone, no music, just you and the air. Ask yourself, who am I when I am not consuming? Who am I when I am not performing? You might be surprised by the person you find there. You might find a person who is calmer, wiser, and far more powerful than you realized. The wisdom of the old rural life is not a relic of the past. It is a compass for the future. The more complex the world becomes, the more valuable simplicity will be. The louder the world becomes, the more precious silence will be. I want to thank you for spending this time with me. If this message resonated with you, if you felt a stir in your soul for a simpler, more modest way of being, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Which of these 7 concepts did you need to hear today? Is it the resilience of Sisu, or perhaps the subtraction of Via Negativa? Let's start a conversation, a community of modern villagers seeking a better way. If you found value in this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the roots of wisdom. By doing so, you're helping us reach more people who are tired of the noise and looking for the light. Go now and walk softly upon the earth. Remember that a modest life is not a small life. It is a life so large that it doesn't need to shout to be seen.